Welcome back to the Overheard podcast, recorded live in Banff. My name is Daniel Rudel. No Matty Rage with us today, but a big shout out to him. He is behind the scenes on the click clackers doing our editing for us. So big shout out to you, big guy. Hope you're having a great time up in Fort Mac so far. If it's your first time joining us, please don't forget to give us a like and subscribe. Helps us tremendously, costs you nothing, growing the channel. We're trying to get interviews all over the place. We've got some wild stuff coming down the pipe, so stay tuned with us. Our guest today, Amal, not the first time joining us. No. You can catch Amal. We sat down way back at episode 29 with Jiwon. That was,
yeah.
It seems like forever ago.
That does. How long ago was that?
Over a year.
Oh boy.
Over a year ago for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, the setup was different. I think were we at Matt's house back then at Cougar Street?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I think we were at Cougar Street back
Probably.
then. Jeez, how this has evolved. Anyways, before we get too far into things, we're going to check in with our sponsors. As always, this episode is brought to you by Drink Shaft. When it's summer in the Bow Valley, early isn't optional. First light on the fairway, glassy water at the shoreline, that warm hit of sun that tells you the day is yours. But there's a difference between showing up and doing it right, and that, my friends, is Drink Shaft. Cold, nitro-infused, non-alcoholic, it's the Bow Valley's #1 grab-and-go cold brew. So start the day early and do the day right. Grab yourself a Drink Shaft. Let's get back to it. All right, we're back. So
I love the paper toss. You're like,
right?
Done.
It's gone. It's in the past. I don't need it anymore. You know? I used to crumple them up, but it makes too much sound.
Oh, what if you crumble them and then throw them at your guests?
Or do an ASMR.
Oh, yeah.
You know? Hey, maybe. Well, welcome back. If somehow you've never met Amal around town or you missed our episode 29, Amal Alhomsi is an author, award-winning photographer, and founder of Oesa Arts, an organization built to support local artists and sober community events. Originally from Syria, he studied comparative literature and theology in the Appalachian Mountains of North Carolina and did a master's in ecocriticism at UBC. He's been in Banff for the last 7 years and lives in one of the oldest cabins built by an early park ranger. One thing I wanted to ask is, what is ecocriticism? What there's like, this nature is nice.
Yeah, we give it. No. Ecocriticism is basically criticizing scientific writing about nature, because a lot of times environmental solutions come from scientific studies.
Yeah.
But a lot of those times, those studies affect indigenous groups that live or inhabit those areas. Mm-hmm. So ecocriticism would go in and try to marry the humanities with the sciences to find solutions, basically.
Amazing.
Yeah. Did I explain it right?
Of course, yeah.
Okay.
Something is definitely much needed. I think it's just going behind the science and implementing it in a way that fits everyone, especially First Nations and people that have a deeper calling to the land.
That's true. Well, ecocriticism can also be, I did my thesis on David Attenborough, because I know a lot of people love him.
Yeah.
But
big fan.
Big fan? Okay.
Yeah. Big fan of the voice.
His voice is good.
His voice is great?
Yeah.
What's your take on him? Do you have a hot take about David Attenborough, maybe?
Hot take, oh gosh. I just think it's oh boy, I can take the whole podcast talking about this, but it's a little bit damaging because you have people like him who speak about nature almost divorcing it from the historical context of the problems, of the environmental problems. Because if you look at Africa, for example, which is where where he talks about, almost all the reasons why there's environmental crisis there is because of colonial intervention and what we call green colonialism. You never hear about that in his documentaries, you know, because he's funded by the BBC or whatever, and it's just like, it's propaganda that just keep perpetuating itself, and I just don't like that.
Wow, I never even looked at it that way. So maybe
also, like, for example, if you look, one of his documentaries was about this endangered species of gorillas that the British government actually they created this national park to protect, but while doing so, they actually endangered a group of indigenous people that lived there. And so I think environmental solutions can often be used as colonial advances, but they take that mantle of goodness, and so it's hard to criticize.
I feel like that's that happens a lot in kind of all aspects of
Yeah, I mean, Banff
policy.
is an example of that as well.
100%. We can dive into some of those later for sure. We wanted to start this episode a little bit differently with a Banff hot take. Do you have a hot take of Banff?
I feel like everything I say is a hot take. Hot take. I want to preface this by saying that I think a hot take should be hot, you know? It should risk your social standing.
All right.
And like those Subway hot takes when people go and be like, "Oh, cats are better than dogs." Shut up.
Okay.
No, that's
okay.
not a hot take. That's not a hot take. I think if you have a hot take, you should risk your job. I want to hear your hot take, but I'll tell you.
I don't know. I got a few hot takes. Yeah, I don't know. Which genre of hot take? I have a pretty good musical hot take.
Ooh, tell me.
I think the Beatles are overrated. I don't really like the Beatles, man.
See, that's not a hot take.
You don't think so?
Because I don't care about the Beatles.
All right.
Or I feel like that's just like an...
I just feel like everyone is just like, oh my god, the Beatles.
That's true. I actually do think...
It's like, I feel like there's bands that have made bigger contributions.
Like what? Like who?
Oh, man, I don't know. That's put me on the spot now. In different genres, I'd say like Led Zeppelin.
Okay.
I would say even like psychedelic bands, more in like the Jefferson Airplane vibe, or like in the counterculture movement. I think they did more to change people as far as their messaging than the Beatles did.
Fair enough. But I feel like a pretty boy band will always be popular.
Yeah, fair enough, man.
You can't take that away from them. My hot take, let's see. I think... Jesus. I think that sometimes discrimination is not always bad.
All right.
But I don't of course.
That's a hot take.
Of course not.
Which type of discrimination are you talking about?
Thank you. Never ethnic no, religious, ethnic, no. But I feel like we should be okay to discriminate against like travel influencers, you know? Like, I think we should have signs that says, dogs welcome, travel influencers not welcome, We should be able to throw some slurs when we see them. I don't know. I feel like travel influencers are the worst of the worst. I feel like we should start a club where we go and them at night. But
we're gonna have to put a heavy edit
too far.
on that one.
Yeah. Cut that out. No, but because traveling is already such a privilege, and these people go and say, "Well, I'm gonna make money out of this privilege," and not only that, those people who come to you and say, oh, "You're a loser if you're traveling in Europe. Come to Kyrgyzstan, where nobody is," and they think that everybody can just leave their 9 to 5.
But that's the thing, they make money off the illusion, right?
Yes.
So this is like, we're kind of involved in social media. We are involved purely in social media, basically.
Yes, me too. I mean,
yeah, so are you. So I get it. Like, you're trying to make ends meet, but having that, those pages do crazy numbers. And I think that is one of the main things that has changed tourism in a way that, I feel maybe 20 years ago, the people that would come and visit the national parks, not just Banff, but all of them, had a different spirit, maybe a different goal in mind than today's visitor. I feel like today's visitor just wants to go take pictures and mimic that travel influencer.
Exactly. And then experience becomes almost prepackaged to you.
Yes.
You want to go and do the thing that the influencer was doing. And then, because again, experience always has to come as a shock for it to leave a lasting impression on you.
For sure.
And for you to go in with an expectation is just sad. And I think people who travel already know that their traveling was different, prior to the TikTok era.
Yeah.
Than nowadays.
But that's so on the individual too, right?
That's true.
How are you researching your trip? What is really making you want to go? Are you wanting to go to experience a place and truly feel the culture or the, in our aspect, the natural beauty of it? Or are you going to mimic someone else's experience? Which that's where the whole kind of influencer word for me is a really strange one. Because what attracts people to these types of channels is oh, my life isn't like that, but I hope one day it could be.
That is true. Yes.
Right?
Which is, yeah.
And then these people that are the influencers go, well, hey, if you buy this product, you will be one step closer to this life. Right?
Thank you for saying that. Yes, it is really frustrating.
Yeah.
And it's just... Yeah. Anyways, but that's my hot take.
That
I'm sorry if I offended anyone. Well, not really, actually. But.
I mean, you'd only offend travel influencers, really, which you know. We just said our
Who
feelings
cares?
about them.
Yeah.
But
Who cares? No.
I don't know. Yeah, it is the fact. I think the domination of that, as far as I just don't think it's needed anymore. Like you said, if travel influencers are getting to these untouched places in the world, being like, "You're a loser if you don't come here." Like, what becomes an untouched place?
That is true. And it's always sad because they're almost always unaware of the context of where they are. Like if you see influencers who go to, for example, South America or Africa or Asia, a lot of the countries they're visiting, the indigenous populations of those countries cannot actually travel to their neighboring countries, right? But then us, the European traveler can just easily bike across South America with no friction whatsoever, but then the Guatemalan cannot even go to the country next to them because of, and then it's just perpetuate this idea of traveling is this, I don't know, but it is.
It's like a status symbol.
Yes.
If you can afford to travel, if you can, you post that on your Instagram. Oh man, like.
Don't get me wrong, travel is amazing. 100%. I travel a lot, but just don't make a living out of it.
Fair enough. I think it's the pages or the channels that are like, this is my life. You should do like me.
Yeah, you should be like me.
Right? Like that's where, I don't know. You're pleading to this like this instinct in people to want to better themselves, but it's not a positive way to do it. That's right? It's a weird way to trick people into like thinking that they're helping themselves, but they're not. They're just helping that person achieve their goals.
That is true. Wow, that is a good point.
Which is a very like strange aspect. Anyway,
sorry. Yes.
No, go ahead.
No, that was it.
That's it. Let's get back to writing and you personally, Amal. When did writing kind of strike a chord with you? When did you know that you could pursue it in a way that was meaningful to you?
That's a good question. Are you familiar with the way monarch butterflies migrate?
I know that they do migrate. I don't know in the way that they do.
It's so fascinating. The way monarchs migrate is that when they leave Mexico, they take 5 generations to reach their destination. So it takes a monarch 5 times to die to reach where it's going, right? And so to this day, scientists don't know how a monarch butterfly, when it, because it flies, gives birth, dies, and then the baby, when they're born, they immediately know exactly where to go. And scientists don't know how they carry this itch to just fly north.
Yeah.
And I think for me, writing was like that because my dad is a writer. He's never written anything because he always, he had to work hard, all of that. His dad was a writer. And so I just come from a family of writers. And I think like the monarchs, I just always carried that within me in a way. And it's interesting because we always talk about, intergenerational trauma and how we carry pain from our parents, which is true, but we rarely talk about intergenerational beauty or intergenerational joy. Good right
point. Yeah.
Like I did take from my parents the anger of displacement that they've went through, but I've also took their like eggplant recipes and their dances and their songs and all the beauty that they also brought to my life. And writing is for sure one of those things. So
but when you talk about intergenerational trauma, especially around displacement, there's also like resilience to that. There's also like there's people in my life that are recent immigrants from other countries around the world, and when I look at their resilience and their like when we exchange stories and things that they've seen in their past and their lives before us meeting at the same place here in Banff, it's a very interesting way that they can live their lives and be like, I don't know, be still happy, right?
That's a great point. Yeah, I mean,
that shows such personal resilience.
I agree. Wow, great point.
Being away from family, right? Like they still have family where they're from.
But yes, of course. But like at the same time, I don't want to discredit. Like I know you're not, but I think sometimes generational trauma can be paralyzing for sure. But also it does help to sometimes look at all the beauty that also comes from our parents and our heritage and all of that.
For sure.
And for me, writing, I just come from a family of writers who never wrote anything.
So you're kind of finally reaching that destination.
Oh my gosh.
We'll tie
That's
it in
like a
together,
poem.
man. We'll tie it in together.
You should become a poet.
Oh, you know. I don't know about poet, but what kind of writers or what kind of creatives influenced you along your journey?
That is a great question. That's an important question.
Mm-hmm.
I think what's his name? Do you know Banff, the musician?
Yeah.
He has a line at the beginning of a song, Restacks, where he says, "This is my excavation, and today is Qumran. Everything is from now on." And Qumran is the cave in Palestine where they discovered the Dead Sea Scrolls. And to them, after the cave, Christianity was never what it was after what they discovered in the caves.
Yeah.
And what he's trying to say is like, because he's writing the song about his breakup, and he's saying, "This is my Qumran. Everything is from now on." And I think for every human, they meet an artist or they come across a work of art that really becomes their Qumran, their cave. And everything to them becomes from now on.
Cool.
And like I think for me, if I was to think of one artist that I can think of my life, like Amal before and after, it would be Annie Dillard. She's an author. I don't even know how to talk about her, honestly. She's just like an incredible author that nobody knows about.
Interesting.
Which is so sad, because even when I was doing my, I'm kind of glad that nobody knows about her, to be honest, because it makes her feel like she's mine.
Yeah, fair.
But even when I was doing my master's, even my professors didn't know who she was, which almost like proves the point of Virginia Woolf when she wrote about Shakespeare's sister, about the notion that if Shakespeare had a sister and she was to write equally as eloquently as Shakespeare, nobody would know.
For sure.
Right? And when I think of Dillard, I mean, I don't want to compare her to Thoreau and Emerson because I think she's even, like, she's even way better. But we think of Thoreau, we know Emerson, we know all these writers, but, Annie Dillard, because of, let's say, her gender, she's not as known. But also it's not always actually about gender. Like, even if you look at art, when you look at people like Bob Dylan, for example, in his own time, there's this musician called Rodriguez. I'm not sure if you know Rodriguez. Sugarman.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of this. I've heard of this documentary and I've read articles about it, but I've never...
Like, I think to me, he's way more coherent and beautiful than Bob Dylan, but because, of course, Rodriguez is a name that you wouldn't, back in the day.
Of course.
So it is unfortunate how bias can dictate, like, the collective taste of humans. But again, I'm happy that Dillard, no one knows who Dillard is. But if you don't, go read her. She is wonderful. I actually read her first book here in Banff. I was at the golf course dock.
It's looking real different now.
I know. It's funny because she has a story in the book called Flood. And so maybe I should go read that right now in the water.
Be a cool place.
Well,
Don't get in the water. It's quite dangerous.
Don't get in the water, kids.
No, definitely not.
But who would that be for you? Do you have an artist or
For me, I think when it comes to, honestly, in the last 2 years, discovering podcasting and this almost journalistic aspect of what we're doing, it would be Hunter S. Thompson. Because I love Hunter S. Thompson and the way that he wrote, like I have Hell's Angels right here.
I was looking at that.
It's just the way that he writes, from putting himself into the story and that first person perspective. Like, I kind of take on a little bit of that in this, where I'm not an expert, but come along with me. Maybe we can learn something together. That gonzo style is what I really like.
Have you read John Didion?
No.
Highly recommend.
Okay.
David Foster Wallace? Highly recommend.
Nice.
Consider the Lobster by David Foster Wallace. Great journalism. John Didion's Slouching Towards Bethlehem.
Love it. You'll have to send me these later so I can investigate them further.
Yes.
What do you think people misunderstand about solitude, especially in a place like Banff, which is, especially in the coming summer months, that seems so crazy and sometimes overrun? You mentioned reading The Flood by the river.
Yeah.
What does solitude kind of mean to you in this crazy place?
Solitude. I think nowadays, the great hippo solitude is almost going extinct as well, because
sure.
We carry our distractions in our pockets almost always, and so because to me, I mean, I'm not sure if the way I define solitude, it would be you're alone purely alone, right?
Uncontactable.
Yes. And just to have the phone, to have music in your ears always, to just be reachable at all times. It almost seems like pseudo solitude, right? It's never feels right. And it's unfortunate because, yeah, I don't know. I don't have many thoughts about this actually, because I'm still struggling to understand if solitude is even a good thing or a bad thing. Right? What do you think?
I think it can be both. I think it's a matter of moderation, right? Like, just like everything, if you have too much solitude, you kind of get wrapped up in your own thoughts, maybe, or you have, issues with that. Or the opposite of that, not enough solitude, I think you kind of have a hard time forming your own opinions.
That's true.
You kind of follow the herd a little bit more in that sense.
That is true. Have you read the book Amusing Ourselves to Death?
No, I have not read many books. I'm catching up on all that stuff now that I've found different passions in my life, we'll say.
Fair. Okay. Yeah. But, yeah. I'm sorry.
No, that's going to be so good.
I will stop talking about books then.
No, please, man. That's fine. Our audience might be avid readers, especially if they're tuning into this episode, so don't hold back.
If we were to contextualize the problem of solitude in Banff, let's say, I think people often come to Banff imagining this, what the word you use, untouched nature, right? Which is, Bill McKibben, another book, in his book, The End of Nature, he actually argues that nature doesn't exist anymore, which is true, because if you think of Banff, in a way, yes, it is nature, but it's actually like Disneyland, because it is so curated.
It's commodified nature.
We've killed all the bears, all the wolves. We did our hiking trails. Everything is peaceful. If you read the early mountaineers and what they thought of Banff, they hated it. It was horrible.
It was tough living for them.
Yeah, it was tough living. But then we sanitized it, right, and presented it in this way that is just, perfect. And we think we're here to have this solitude. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't want to be a hater, because yes, you can still, nature is there, it's out there, and you can sit by the river and you can have these feelings of beauty and all of that, but it is not as easy, I would say.
You bring up a very interesting point that I've been questioning in myself lately. I'm an avid golfer, but I also love the environment. So there's kind of a hypocrisy in that, and I do understand that. But I find myself sometimes at the golf course going wow, this nature is beautiful. I'm so glad I get to play golf here.
Well, I would say there's two ways to look at it, honestly. There's the way where everybody wants organic apples, but nobody wants a worm in their apple, And so there's the argument, which is made, that if you look at humans as part of nature, right, then you playing golf would actually be an act of natural, or a natural act, or an act of nature. Because if you think about it, when we look at a beaver's scat, for example, or a beaver dam, we say, oh, that's nature.
Yeah.
But when we look at a building, we say that's unnatural.
Fair
right?
point.
And so in doing that, we actually separate ourselves from nature, which is not ideal. And so I think environmentalists have been struggling with this idea for a long time. Are humans part of nature, and what they do is part of nature or not? And so to me, I think the best middle ground would be, is what you're doing in context of the nature that surrounds you? So, for example, if you're in a desert and you're putting steel buildings, and building all these skyscrapers in the middle of the desert, I would say that's not natural.
For example, I'm not condemning it or anything, but say a ski slope indoors in Dubai.
Which I've been into. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I've been to. Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah.
For sure. But the snow is fake. But yeah, I mean, a cabin here, I'm not going to say that's an unnatural way, because animals also build habitats to live in.
Yeah, fair.
Right? So I think there's a really good essay called The Geography of Hope. And he's an architect, and he talks about how humans need to study their environments to know how to exist in it.
Cool.
And I think indigenous people have done that for a long, long time, to know how to coexist, right? And I think once we do that, we actually wouldn't feel that contradiction, right?
Yeah,
we wouldn't feel that weird feeling inside that, oh, is this right? Is this not right? Because golf is enjoyable. I mean, I've never played golf, but I know people enjoy it. Yeah. But I mean, the environmental, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I mean,
I'm fully aware. Yeah, absolutely.
But so, yeah, I think it's all a matter of personal understanding of what nature is and how to be in context with it.
Because that's, as we talk about solitude, that's kind of one of the places where I go to find solitude, strangely enough.
Oh, playing golf?
Yeah, because when you're standing over a golf shot or when you're skiing down a mountain or doing these, for me, it's sports where I kind of find this escape of solitude where you cannot think about anything else, right? Like all your attention is divided into that one moment, that one thing that you're doing.
I see.
And that's where I find my escape, even though it's sometimes with people.
That's interesting. And maybe that is because of phones. Because, nowadays, anything that doesn't require a phone, we think of it as solitude. Because we're disconnecting for an hour or so. But that's interesting. I wouldn't
Yeah, fair.
do your thing there.
Well, no, I just kind of like, I'm realizing this kind of slowly but surely as I talk to more environmentalists and more people that are, I want to say opinionated, but that have,
Am I opinionated? I'm sorry.
Not opinionated in the bad sense. That like maybe I should be thinking about these things more, right? And other people as well. Like our
Yes, I mean I think you should think about everything you do
for sure
all the time, right? Because it is important. Because everything we do, it does matter. We live in a world that is so connected, and that's part of his arguments in the End of Nature. McKibben, he talks about how what you do in China now will actually affect the Rocky Mountains, right? And so everything that you do is affecting other people, whether you think about it or not. So I think it is good to be conscious of these things.
Absolutely. When it comes to living in Banff and Oesa and the artists that you've encountered along your journey, have you personally or anyone that you've kind of known ever felt a tension between creating authentic art and surviving economically here specifically? Like that's...
You're going to get another hot take from me.
Yeah. Because...
I think, and you might... I know a lot of artists I work with will not agree on this. I was talking to my artist friend the other day, and I told her this, and she was in shock. I think the notion of the struggling artist is capitalist propaganda.
For sure.
I think it's okay if you struggle as an artist. I actually think struggle is a condition of art, in a way.
I think to one artist I know specifically, probably one of the artists that I met younger in my life that was so dedicated to his art that nothing else mattered. And he was a graffiti artist from Ottawa. I don't even remember his last name. His name was Vince, but he painted these incredible one-line caricature picture characters. And we saw his art evolve over like the course of our high school years, where eventually like he just kind of dropped out of school, would just paint art, and that's literally all he cared about, to the point where we kind of lost contact with him over the years, and then we have no idea what happened to him.
And I think, I don't want to say that's how it should be, but I mean, look at yourself, right? You do this because for the passion of it and for the love of it. And I think the moment I know artists personally who would say, oh, I will only play if I'm getting paid. You're not an artist. You're like a donut salesman. Really, you're selling yourself as a product. And I think art, if you look at all artists, historically, most artists, they actually had other professions that supported their art, and they would do art regardless of money or not. Like, if you think about Conan Doyle, who wrote Sherlock Holmes, he was a doctor. T.S. Eliot was a banker. If there's you have all these authors and artists. Van Gogh was a missionary, who would do all these things, and they didn't see a contradiction of working and producing art at the same time.
Yeah.
Right? Because I think the moment money gets into art, it ruins it. Right? And I think Annie Dillard actually talks about this. She says, if you make art and you fail in the sense of economically fail out of it, and you should stop making art. Because it's not for you.
Fair.
And I think because art, people misunderstand art as this thing that you do as a hobby. For me, I don't think I can live if I don't write.
Fair.
Truly. And I know you had Jerry, and he talked about this, he was just like, I need to sing. It's an itch, like the monarch butterflies. You just wake up and you just need to do this thing. And if you don't do it, you'll burst.
It's true.
Right? And if you're someone who thinks, well, I need to make, I don't want to be a hater again. I feel like I've been hating a lot.
No, but so right. Where does that need to make it work, and that need to survive, where does that line get drawn?
That is a great question. I think, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you should not be paid for your art. If you're playing for organizations like the BLLT or of that charge, right? They have the money.
Yeah.
They can give you the money. But if you're playing at a community event, just don't forget that your art is a source of joy, and it's a source that you should share with others. It's like food, right? Like the function of food is to be shared.
Yeah.
And there's studies that say that a lot of the depression, epidemic that we're going through is because of eating alone, right?
My partner brought this up to me the other day, and it's eating in front of screens as well, and having blue light involved in the intake of food, and that process might disrupt natural, who knows, right? Like it's becoming less and less communal, especially
really
that eating out is becoming less affordable, right? Like how many people are having picnics in the park? I think, well, it's pretty clear that it's a certain demographic, right?
That is true. Interesting point. Yeah, and it's just sad how we're turning ourselves into vegetables, and I think art is the last venue we have at authenticity, right? And to turn it to commodify it and turn it into a product just breaks my heart.
Yeah, fair.
I think if you're an artist, read your poem, play your song, go do your dance. Don't wait for money, because you're doing it for yourself, really, as well. The Palestinian poet Mahmoud Darwish said that we write poetry, or the poet writes poems not to change the world, but to change himself. And if you're not doing art to change yourself, you should just...
What are you doing it for?
Yeah, what are you doing it for? Yeah.
I don't know. If I think of this project and my art, I want to learn and I want to talk to people. And if, like I said, if I could bring people along that journey, that's great.
And if I may say, since last time I met you, I can actually feel a tangible change in you.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Yeah, and I know you're trying to quit sugar and quit your things. I'm sorry if I'm exposing you.
No, I'm not. I'm not super diligent on that anymore. I think I did a year of super regimented, but that's not a way to live neither. You can't just cut everything out.
Yes.
You still have to have some joy in your life. And I kind of found a happy medium.
Moderation. Yeah.
I think I've discovered just the weird, especially when it comes to what you eat. As I age, when you're young, you eat anything you want, you put it in your body, you don't feel the negative aspects.
No.
But as I'm aging, I feel more the consequences of treating my body poorly when it comes to functionality, either at work or I don't know, even in conversations like this. If I'm not ready cognitively, it's not gonna be interesting, right? So
that's true. And I've also to tie it back to your art. I actually do feel how your journalism have affected you and changed you, and it's beautiful to see.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm learning more. Every episode. I don't know. I love doing episodes. It's just fun. I like the whole process. Recording them, capturing them, putting them out. I get to talk to people. I get to reconnect with people that maybe I haven't seen in a long time. I'm always learning something every episode. So.
I do feel it's the best way to learn. Just to bring people and let them talk about what they love. And
well, also there's a matter for me of just doing it. It's that when we started this project, it was we're going to put out an episode every week regardless.
Oh.
And it's the dedication to just doing it. It's become part of the routine. And now it's this is a Saturday. It's not really our shooting day.
Sorry.
No, but I wanted to do another one. It doesn't see... I'm not oh man, I got to shoot with Amal today and now I got to go to work. Oh man.
But that's also something beautiful that is lost from our culture as well, which is ritual, right? Giving yourself ritual. Even the notion of making yourself your own cup of coffee every morning or...
For sure.
All of that. It's something that... Because ritual builds character and they kind of... Because the world already feels so unreal, and ritual just maybe make the world more concrete because it kind of ties you to the real world. And so this is beautiful what you're doing.
I learned a lot of that about my partner. I'm very, I'm super eager to rush to work in the morning, and I love to get up. And of course, a lot of our work is done over social media. It's done on the computer. So I'm checking analytics, looking at,
Yeah.
And she's really taught me to kind of push that off and take care of myself in the morning first. And then that makes me more productive later in the day. Because her morning routine is extensive. But,
Really?
the proof of that comes later in the day.
I mean, if you look at almost every religion that exists, there is always a practice of meditation when you wake up, of meditating, of saying a word at least, or just saying a sentence that almost, embodies your life into your body. And I do think it matters. I mean, if I have an early shift and I go to work without just sitting with myself, the entire day is different than if I was just to sit with myself for 30 minutes.
Are you a religious person yourself?
I try to be.
Yeah?
Yeah. I know the R word nowadays is not too popular.
Well,
but
that's it. It raised a question within me when you were talking about that of kind of media's push to make religion uncool. Right? Like,
But yes, that's true. But I think religion has always been uncool. And I think that is the function of religion. Like art is to always contrast or to put the popular opinion in its place, let's say. I mean, if you think of really any religious leader from Christ to Buddha to Moses to Muhammad, they always came to almost be a thorn against the established whatever.
At the time, almost countercultural
Always.
at the time.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's true.
And it's changed quite drastically, especially in certain certain paths, we'll say.
Yes.
Let's dip into Oesa a little bit. If our guests are tuning in, our audience tuning in, and they've never heard of Oesa, what would you state as its primary mission?
I think Oasis roots itself in three things, which is art, sobriety, and community. But we also veer out because every discipline is interdisciplinary. It's impossible to do one thing without doing a million other things. But we root ourselves in these three things, and then we sprout out of that into other things. But Oesa is an organization that helps local artists basically achieve their dreams. We record musicians for free.
Yep.
We can help you connect with venues to play in town. If you're a visual artist, we have a tent at the farmers market that you can sell your art, and we give you 100% of the money you make. We have a gallery at the Fenlands where you can sell your art. We help people find studio places to dance. We help writers connect them to publishers. We publish on the magazine. So if you're an artist and you're looking for opportunities in the Bow Valley, we're here to help you.
Get in touch.
Yeah. But we also love to do community work because art without community is very, defeats the point of it. But so we try to build community around art and sobriety. And the reason why sobriety was actually not intentional. It came organically because...
Did you just realize that people that were attending your events were sober, or?
Yes, but also I think one of the biggest complaints that we received when we were young, when Oesa was still in its early stages, artists would always come to us and say, "I'm so tired of playing at open mics."
Fair.
Because nobody listens to them. At bars, nobody really gives you the attention that you deserve as a musician or an artist in general. And I mean, we already have so many bars downtown.
Well, I think at an open mic, people aren't there to provide feedback on your performance. Your performance is there to complement their primary focus, which is consuming.
Yes, for sure.
And maybe socializing.
But we also, you're right. We noticed that a lot of people were craving connection away from alcohol, I think, and away from drugs, and just an alternative. And I think this is culturally becoming more popular across Canada, actually.
And I think among the younger generations, financially, it's got to be hard to be an these days because everyone's just barely scraping by, right?
That is so true. Everything's, even coffee. I saw this ad the other day,
so true.
And they were like, "This will only cost you a cup of coffee." And I'm just like, "My guy, you think I can afford a cup of coffee?" I was like, "This is bad advertisement."
For sure. When you think of mountain towns like Banff, why do you think it attracts so many creatives? Like Oesa can't be successful without having people involved.
That is true.
What is it about this place?
That is a good question. I think mountains, and we might have talked about this in the previous episode, but mountains historically attract almost, I don't even know how to say this, spirituality. I mean, if you look at literally every single religion in the world, it started on a mountain. Moses, Mount Sinai. Jesus, Sermon on the Mount. Muhammad, on Hira. Even the Greeks, Mount Olympus. Vikings, they're like... even the indigenous people of this valley, they used to go out up to the mountains to seek visions and spiritual visions. And I think the reason for that maybe metaphorically, when we speak about things, it always affects, our language affects our thoughts. And we always, when we speak of things that are up, it's almost positive always. Like, you bring me up.
Fair,
Right?
yeah.
But we are depressed down. So down is always negative, up is always positive. And so we always maybe associate gods with what's up there.
I was just maybe ascending,
yeah,
that's
going
kind of
up.
like a ritualistic thing as well.
It's true. And I write in my book that, looking up is usually a practice we, reserve for deities, but we do it with the mountains force us to look up, right? Which is something. And so I think art, I don't want to tie art with religion, but art also has that spiritual element to it. It almost has that insanity to it, for a lack of a better word. And Plato in his Utopia, he talks about how he wanted to kick out all the artists from his amazing city, which is funny because you don't need to kick out artists out of city. They would kick themselves out of the city. All artists just want to live in the countryside, And I think, I don't know, there's something about mountains that attracts that kind of, because the sublime, I'm sorry if I'm talking too much, I can shut up. But the idea of the sublime is, we think of the mountains as a sublime, right? And the idea of the sublime is something that, what's his name? Rilke said that beauty is the beginning of horror, right? And mountains, if you think about mountains, they're kind of terrifying.
Of course.
But in a very attractive way.
Of course.
And that's what we call the sublime. And we think of God the same way, and we think of love the same way, right? It's something that attracts us, but also terrifies us.
Yeah, of course.
And I think art, that's like the foundation of art. It's something that we really want to do, but we're also terrified of.
For sure. I think the vulnerability of art is where that fear comes from, right? Like having something tangible, whether it be a painting or a song that shows your true feeling. I think that's where that's scary for a lot of people, right?
It is very scary.
You open yourself to criticism.
That is true, which is really hard. But yeah, I hope that answers the question.
When did you realize Oesa was becoming something bigger than, it started with the magazine, right?
Oh, we did.
We talked about that with Nahani a couple weeks back.
Oh, you did?
Absolutely.
Okay, I need to listen to that.
When did you know it was kind of becoming something bigger than just the magazine?
Whew, that's a great question. I think it was just like a natural progression of things, because we wanted an outlet where artists can publish their work, but then naturally artists wanted to start sharing their work with the community physically. So I remember there's a basement. Do you know where the Banff Canmore Foundation is? No. It's downtown. It's like a very hidden. It's downtown, but it's hidden, and they have a basement that I love so much. And we used to host these underground concerts that were by invitation, and we were filled every single time. And that's when I realized there is a thirst for community around art.
For sure.
Right, and so we started slowly, just building off of that, and then we, after the PA Foundation's generous grant, we
full bar.
Well, yeah, it was insane. And then we opened the coffee shop and just never looked back.
Should we talk about the coffee shop first, or should we talk about the app first?
We can.
Where should we go next? Because they both kind of ties in. We're talking about the cafe. Let's do the cafe.
Well, you can talk about the coffee shop. So we opened the coffee shop last year. That was a non-for-profit in the St. George Church. So we took their, what is it called? My English is not working. Sorry.
That's all right.
What do you call the room where you host the thingies?
A funeral parlor?
It's a funeral room. Sorry.
The viewing room or something?
So it was a funeral room. It was a room to host, funerals. And then we took it and turned it into a community coffee shop. With the grant of the PA Foundation. And it was a non-for-profit coffee shop that is open late, that the function of it to be an alternative for bars in the nightlife in Banff.
Yes.
Right? We did not expect it to be as busy as it was. The electricity actually stopped working because of, I'm not even kidding. That's how we...
Drawing too much power out.
Yeah, that's why we stopped. That's why we closed. It was just so popular. And every day people would come and say, this is exactly what Banff needed.
Nice.
Which is something that is beautiful to hear, right? Sure. And I think the importance of a place like that is because Banff we talk about Banff, how it's like a food desert, that, but also Banff is is a desert of third spaces. And what a third space is a place between public and private. If I was to think of a perfect example, it would be the alleyway, right? So the alleyway belongs to the public, but at the same time, when you finish your shift and you put your milk crate there and you go out for a cigarette, and then you come the next day and the milk crate is still there, it's a public space that you made your own.
Yeah.
And so that is the definition of a third space. It's a space that you don't own, but you feel like it's yours, right? And it belongs to everyone else. And then gradually you build community around it. So you put the milk crate, you start smoking, and then other workers, restaurant workers, will come there and start smoking with you. Mm-hmm. That is how you build a third space, right?
Cool.
And in Banff, historically, if you look at Vienna, for example, think of a European example, coffee shops were literally the cradle of their artistic culture, not bars, right? Because coffee shops are perfect third spaces. And I think in Banff, we need a third space, and that's why we opened the coffee shop, but we closed, unfortunately. However, June 25th, we're not sure yet we're going to open the coffee shop, but we are working with a different church now, the Rundle Church. Do you know where the thrift store is?
Yeah, absolutely.
So just over the thrift store, they removed the pews. And on June 25th, we're having an open house where we're inviting everyone, including you, please do come, to come and shape the space with us.
Now, I would love to be there, but unfortunately I'll be out of town.
I'll say we also have like a...
I'll be there after, though, when I return to town, for sure.
Where are you going?
I do a little camping trip for my birthday every year. That's right around the time of my birthday.
Rituals again.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you in advance.
But please do come to the open house. Tell us what you want. Tell us if you want an art center, if you want a zoo, whatever you want. We'll think about it. And we'll work with the Rundle Church on building the space around what the community needs most, I think.
I really love your openness to input from the community. Like anytime Oesa does something, there's always this huge call of, hey, we have an opportunity to do something. What do we need? And I think that's something that you do very well.
Thank you. I think because Oesa, people often think of Oesa as my face, which I hate. I think Oesa, if you think of Oesa, it is literally the community it serves. Like Oesa, this is Hegel's typical relation between master and slave, but Oesa's by definition will not be a thing without the artists and the community it serves. And so Oesa is whatever the community wants it to be. In a way, of course, we're not going to start a zoo because that's not our mandate, but we will actually listen and we will do what the community wants us to do because that's what we strive to be.
I love the logo being an open chair as well.
Thank you.
Like that's such a good symbol for what you guys are.
Thank you. I used to, believe it or not, before I met Nahani, the name of the magazine or the name of everything was, the name of the organization was Deliatur. Because you know how much of a nerd I am. And
I wouldn't say nerd. I'd say intellectual.
And it's like this Latin term. And then Nahani was just like, maybe you should make it something different. So we changed it. And then it remained the symbol. And then just last year, we actually changed it into the chair to be more of an inviting thing. And I think it will stay that way. And I saw Bad Bunny actually has his album. Do you know Bad Bunny, the musician?
Of course I know Bad Bunny, yeah.
His new album, his album cover is the chair.
An open chair?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe he's biting your style.
Yeah.
On that.
And I'm like, you pishikaka, how dare you? No, just kidding.
What is it? Imitation is the best form of
oh my gosh.
flattery?
Yes,
right?
yes. You're welcome, Bad Bunny.
Let's talk a little bit about the tension between Banff as far as grassroots local art and larger institutional spaces. Do you think local creatives are truly supported outside of Oesa?
I wonder which large institutions we're talking about. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry. That is a good question. And I don't want to be, I want to be fair.
Yeah.
Right? I think they can be. But for example, I'm just going to say, I know we're talking about the Banff Center, right? And I was recently talking with an artist who did many residencies at the Banff Center. And then she told me that when she moved to Alberta, she applied to the residency that she was expecting 100% to get, that she didn't get. And I think there is this notion that the Banff Center doesn't really, which is fair, I mean, whatever, but they don't really, it's not maybe in their mandate to support local art. And so local artists shouldn't be expected to be supported by the Banff Center. But then what frustrates me about that is just call yourself the art center then. Don't call yourself the Banff Center. You know, like if you're going to locate yourself to this location, do so. And I know that back in the day, I know they had programming with locals. And I know they are trying now, maybe.
Yeah.
And I hope they do. Don't get me wrong.
There is plans to incorporate a lot more local acts than in the past.
Which would be
from
great.
my knowledge, yeah.
Which would be great. And I actually have a lot of faith in them. I think they're great, and I think they have a lot of resources that can be utilized better. But I think they're maybe too large for their own good.
Well, this is a point that I really wanted to bring up, and this might be my hottest take of the episode. I feel like Oesa now better represents what Banff Center was.
Oh, thank you. Wow, what a compliment.
Right? Because if you look at the beginning of Banff Center,
that's true.
it was by artists, for the artists, a very grassroots, almost counterculture thing, which you guys doing events in a sober space would be the counterculture of Banff, being that...
That is true. And I think it goes back to the unfortunate reality that whenever you bring money into anything, it ruins it.
Yeah.
And I think the Banff Center did start amazingly, right? It started by artists. It's just sad. And my biggest fear with Oesa is actually is to become money hungry or to become, because it happens, we're all humans.
Yeah.
Right. But I am always conscious of that. And I hope the Banff Center changes, because I think what they can give this community is immense. Right. But I often think about their empty studios and how many insanely talented artists live in Banff who need that resource.
That's been brought up to me multiple times from multiple people.
And the thing is, I'm not saying they should give it out for free. You know, like start charging. That's okay. Like we can actually, Oesa can apply for a grant to get these studios instead of us scrambling to go like ask churches to give us the spaces or basements. I think if collaboration would bring so much beauty, but it's weird to me that there's just this insane wall of silence that is just not.
Yeah,
but it's okay. Maybe you should interview someone from the Banff Center.
I have.
Oh,
I've interviewed the CEO of Banff Center.
Oh yeah, I did have a meeting with him about the Israel thing as well, and their funding from.
Yes, that's part of why I wanted to ask you that question specifically.
I see. I don't want to see. I'm someone who, and this might not be a popular opinion, but I think I would not take the merits of a work of someone because of their morality is dubious. I do wish they would find alternative funding. I think they're lying to themselves. I think it is such a tragedy. Actually, like forget the Israel. I mean, the Israeli thing is a tragedy, but also, I saw that they were doing an AI conference.
Yeah.
And I was just like, what is happening?
One of the bigger AI summits in Canada, from what I've gathered.
It breaks my heart. And I'm just like, for an organization that advocates for art, you know, like AI is one of the hot topics with artists. And then you're hosting one of the biggest conferences on AI and you're advertising it. What does that say about you and how does that reflect you, right? And I think the problem with that is that they're trying to run a hotel and a conference center with an art center.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe we're just too small to understand the big picture of big art organizations. And so I don't want to say the wrong things without having full knowledge.
I agree, and I don't want to like cast stones unjustly.
For sure, yes, because I do. I actually
do a lot of good as well. You can't just paint everything with a negative brush.
I agree, and they do a lot of work with Indigenous artists that is wonderful and fantastic. Right. Anyways, I don't want to. I feel bad. I don't want to say something where there's no one here to defend their position. So maybe let's not.
Maybe that'll be a fun roundtable discussion one day.
Yeah.
Or a surrounded type or a versus.
You should
type.
have that actually. Like it would be civil. There's
of course.
no punches in any of that. But I think that would be fruitful. I think.
Well, I think it's cool. Everyone in Banff. I don't think anyone in Banff or even at Banff Center or anyone. I don't think anyone has negative or dubious intentions.
No, of course not.
I think that it's sometimes a byproduct of what they think is right.
Yes, but and this is the fundamental problem that I have with the center. when you're a non-for-profit or a charity, are we over time?
No, we're good.
Sorry. When you're a non-profit or a charity, you have to ask yourself the question, what would happen if I'm not here? Right? With Oesa, I always ask myself that question. And I actually have artists telling me literally that Oesa saved their life. Right? So I always think, if the Banff Center was to move away from Banff, what would happen to Banff? Or Banff artists? You know? I would say they wouldn't even notice it.
Yeah.
Like Banff artists would not even notice the Banff Center not existing. Right? And that is a problem. Right? So if you want to serve other artists, that is fine, but say that in your mandate. But if you look at their mandate, they actually say that they want to be rooted in place. But where is that rootedness? Right? Like, show me how you're rooted in this place. And I feel bad. I feel bad talking publicly like this, but I just wish, and I'm saying this not to attack, perhaps, but because I would love for them to actually be their full potential.
For sure.
Because that would be amazing. And that would actually mean that Oesa will stop being Oesa. And that would be the dream. Because I can go and put my toes in the sand and do my thing.
I think like a larger institution could maybe benefit from someone like you in a position, maybe even of consulting or of directional planning. I don't know how you would.
I would say to that.
Pitch this like.
That is a great point, but I would say it's not me, because I know, I've seen people who work at the Banff Center. You have insanely talented and amazing visionaries there.
It's true.
But when you're a visionary stuck in a system that is not fruitful, nothing you do is gonna work. Right? Like I don't have anything against the people who work at the Banff Center. You have amazing, talented people there.
Of course.
But the system itself maybe needs to be
I think it's just a victim of bureaucracy. Honestly,
yes,
that would be plainly the way to put it. Things can get done way more streamlined, I feel like, with less hands in the pot. But as you become larger as an organization, there has to be that level of oversight, maybe.
That is true. But then again, like the Banff Center is in Canada, and Canada is a bureaucratic country, so it is hard to also. With Oesa, we struggle a lot with moving away from bureaucracy, and we actually sometimes even get in trouble because of that.
How so?
People want a jam night. Let's do a jam night. We go outside, we do a jam night. Well, you can't actually gather here. Well, you can't actually host an event here. Well, you need insurance. Well, fair. But you understand how much that kills culture.
Yeah. Because you don't want to do it.
Like who has time? I don't know. And so like now, honestly, one of the biggest hurdles to Oesa, and it was probably the thing that was made me gonna quit, was bureaucracy, was getting insurance, getting permits. You're not allowed to play outside. You need the right permits. You need this, you need that. And even for like tax reasons, you need to be registered. And I'm just like, I just want to bring people together.
And all those things cost money.
Yes. And it's just so sad. It just breaks my heart. And I maybe the Banff Center is too deep to that bureaucracy.
Yeah.
But I would recommend Hannah Arendt's books to them, The Banality of Evil. Great book. It will tell you to move away from bureaucracy and do other things.
I love it. Paul. It's so good. How important is it for not emerging artists, how important is it for all artists to meet together, and what have you learned from gathering so many different disciplines together in the same space?
Oh, that's a good question. I think art is a generous offering, because if you're someone who's a writer and you're never sharing your writing, you will go insane.
For sure.
If you're someone who's, by definition, art needs to be shared because beauty needs to be shared. And I think when I bring people together, you see that beauty and you see like that twinkle in the eye of you're like this too. And I think that is the most important human feeling, is to look at someone and realize that you're not alone.
Yeah, for sure.
And that someone else is like you. Someone else also sucks at playing the guitar. Someone else also writes the same poetry as you, because really loneliness is a horrible feeling.
Yeah.
And to know that someone out there is similar than you or to you is amazing. And I feel like with Oesa, we've started so many bands, we've started so many movements and game nights and all of these things not because of Oesa, but simply because we brought, this and this together. We brought him and her together. And I just love seeing that. I love seeing that. I was shout out to Arn and Kaylin. They just got married.
Big shout out. So dope. They're just amazing
I love
people.
them.
Yeah.
I love them. But I remember we used to hold jam nights in my kitchen, and I think they had their first kiss in my kitchen.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken. I think so, but I remember...
What an honor.
I remember Arn coming and blushing all the time and being like, "Oh, I have a crush on Caitlin." Yeah, it was a long time ago, and that happened, because of jam nights, because two musicians came together to play together.
Yeah.
And so I think I just love seeing that happen.
That's awesome, man. That's, that must make you feel great.
I love it. Yeah, I love it.
That's so good. Let's talk about the app. Let's get to the app. Now, we talked about this a little bit off camera. You've been developing an app.
Yes.
What is it for? What does it do? What's the idea?
Yes, I'm gonna use this as a clip to make it into an ad. So I need to do this the right way. So Worker of Art is an app that you can find on your app store that basically solves the problem of all artists everywhere. Because for the 5 years that I've been working with artists, we have so many problems and questions and struggles, and I just thought I'm going to make this platform that solves all of it. So Worker of Art is an app that doesn't cost you a cup of coffee. It's actually free. And it's like an Instagram and LinkedIn, but also you can find work with it, which is why it's called Worker of Art. So you can create an Instagram-like profile, connect your gigs to it and your tickets, connect with other artists, follow other artists, request collaboration with other artists, find other artists in your locations, find gigs near you.
Sweet.
And it's for venues to post gigs and find artists. And it's also, there's a feed that doesn't allow AI, and it's just artists that are sharing. And it's the only people who can share on this feed are artists. And you can filter the feed to be people near you or art that's similar to your art. So that way, it's a meaningful way of social media to find inspiration, to find collaborations, connect, and find work.
It sounds like you're cutting out all the noise that isn't art related to a social media platform. It's a great idea.
Thank you so much. And I'm cutting out all the middlemen. Everything is just now. I'm putting the power in the hand of the artist. Let's say, and now you don't have an excuse because artists are often slaves to the algorithm, unfortunately.
Even a couple weeks, we just released the M. Dot episode, and even in that interview, we go, "Oh, you signed a deal with Sony. How was that experience?" And he starts laughing, and him and his whole team go, "We had no idea what we were doing." So to me, that says that they're in a bad deal. But I feel like even at every level of art, there's almost some type of exploitation going on, or this dangling carrot to get to the next level.
If you're an artist and you're about to sign a deal, there's an organization called CARFAC in Canada, and that's an acronym. They will help you for free with lawyers to sign the deals, know how much you need to be paid, how to sign contracts, how to write contracts, how to make invoices. So go check them out and don't do that mistake.
Yeah.
Because that's horrible.
It seems like it's a very common thing, and you hear about it.
Yeah, it's so sad.
Especially music.
Yes, especially in music. So Worker of Art, and that's the thing, again, I think a lot of apps are music focused. Worker of Art focuses on all form of art. So you can be a chef and be on the app.
Cool.
You can be a pastry, you can be a dancer, a model, an actor, a writer, and you create your profile, you put where you are, and then people can look, for example, if you're looking for artists in Calgary, you would go write Calgary, and then you will see a list of all the artists. It's free, and then they can connect with you directly. We take no cuts.
That's amazing. I feel like there's, and it's non-for-profit too, right?
Yes. So it's just we just want to help you. That's basically that. And thanks to the PATH Foundation again. I mean, they make all of this possible.
And I've had a little sneak peek at the app itself. It looks amazing. So
Thank you.
Great work on that.
Thank you.
I got one final question before we sign off here today. If someone's hearing about Oesa for the first time, what's the one thing that you would hope they would understand of what you're trying to build?
Oh, that is a good question. I think we are trying to build a countercultural movement, I would say. So, as you know, Banff is known.
It's such a backwards counterculture movement due to the nature of Banff. That's that's what's dawned on me most in speaking in this episode is you're almost that religious aspect of being the counterculture, but the culture, like the ingrained culture here, is somewhat negative at times in its openness to consumption and that kind of stuff. But the counterculture being positive is kind of a flip of the script.
Okay, so this is a really interesting point, because a lot of times I deal with people who say things like, Banff is this, Banff is this, Banff is that. But then what is Banff? It is the people who make it, right? A lot of the people who complain about the culture of Banff make the culture of Banff, but unfortunately we live in this culture of, you go girl, do what you gotta do, never change. Yeah. But then everybody wants change. It's so weird, because if you think historically, every religion that existed never said to love yourself and change the world. It was always change yourself and love the world, right? But right now what we do is we love ourselves, but we want to change the world, which can never work. And so I think for me, Oesa will help you find that change, I guess, or like to be able to find venues or the means to change yourself, to exist in a culture that is more genuine, I guess.
Yeah, I would say more genuine, 100%.
I don't want to sound also like drinking exists in other cultures and it is part of community as well. But the problem with Banff is that it is done, first of all, in excess and then as an escape.
For sure.
Right? Like the thing, we were talking about ritual, and the ritual in Banff is to go to Wine Wednesday, to go to Fun Day Sunday. That just, anyways.
Well, that's it. As someone who was very much part of that ritualistic side of Banff and has found another side of Banff that, in honesty, I love way more, and I found way more beauty and way more personal accomplishment in the other side of Banff that is away from that, in your counterculture movement, let's say. That I would do nothing more but than to wish that on more people, than to be the culture that you want to see.
100% agree. And I love how whenever someone comes to the light, they're always shocked at, wait, I didn't know there are locals in Banff like this.
Yeah.
You almost unlock a side of Banff that you didn't know existed.
That's what I would describe it to, for sure.
And you meet all these insanely amazing locals because you don't meet them at the bars or, And then you realize there is community here, there is culture, there is beauty. You just were looking in the wrong places, I guess.
That's a very well way to put it, for sure. I agree with you.
But 100%. Thank you for having me so much.
Thank you for coming by.
No, amazing questions. You should write a book, man. You're good at writing questions.
Maybe eventually, we'll see.
Yeah.
I've flirted with the idea. But again, I don't know. I think conversation is when, I have this guideline, but I don't like reading it word for word, right? These are here as a backup, but I feel like what makes us different is this, almost freestyled way of conversing, right?
Do you ever get tired of your own voice or no?
When I'm editing, yeah.
Yeah, fair.
But again, that's why I have guests, because I didn't want to do a show that was just talking about me. Because although I've had a fun, interesting life, I don't think the audience wants to hear about me.
But we should interview you with Oesa.
I'm down.
Interview the interviewer.
Yeah, I'm down.
I would love to.
I have an episode coming out this week where I'm interviewing the interviewer.
Who?
So his name's Luke Elvey. He's one of the owners of Can Golf. But he was a broadcaster and did some of the biggest golf tournaments in the world.
Wow.
But that's the thing. He was always asking questions about other people, and I wanted to ask him questions about himself, which was a lot of fun.
I'm sorry if you get tired of my voice when you're
No, God, no, man. You got lots to say, and we love hearing it. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Big thank you to Drink Shaft for making this possible. Big thank you to Amal for coming in and sharing his insights. Big shout out to Matt. Hope you're doing great out there. Big shout out to Defending Awesome.
Yes.
When we're talking about community builders, Defending Awesome is one of the biggest supporters when it comes to building community. They do everything. They design, they conceptualize. If you have print stuff, if you have garments you want to make, you got a cool squad that just finished a season and you want a hoodie to commemorate it, stop on in. They're a great hang. Get some stickers made, slap them around town. And that's it. That's all the time we have for today.
Don't slap them on trees, though.
No, not trees. Not trees. Just property owned by multinational businesses.
Thank you so much, Dan.
Thank you so much for tuning in every week. We'll see you next Tuesday. Peace.